Like when I was taking LSD in high school and getting like an immediate reality check, which is like you're hearing about this as being like since you were a kid, you're going to go nuts. You're going to like become legally insane, whatever the fuck that means. And then you take it. And you're processing weird shit that happened in your childhood. You're loving yourself. You're looking at the world and seeing it like it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. You're hearing music that you've heard a million times for the first time. And you realize, oh, they're lying. This is wonderful. This isn't madness. And if it is madness, then this is the kind of crazy all of us need to go. Like, and so what, but you couldn't tell your parents. You wanted to. You wanted to be like, Mom, I think this might help you. But you couldn't because you'd be fucked.
Right.
So 5-year mandatory minimum, 5-year fucking mandatory minimum. They're locking people up. There's still people in jail right now for this fucking beautiful gift to humanity. And so we got to experience it from the underground perspective, which was mostly horrific. It produces paranoia. You were scared. You felt like a criminal for nothing. So yeah, man, like but if you look at the history, any substance like psilocybin, LSD, that breaks down the identity, that allows freedom from the sense of this is me and that's you, and produces at least the potential for merging with reality and with other people, it's not going to work for that fucking hierarchical system. For the hierarchical system to function, you need you're below me, you're above me. And the moment you're like, we're all the same, then suddenly the caste system stops working. Classism stops working. The whole fucking thing falls apart, which is why I think that book you gave me, The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross, or you didn't give me it when I was living with you. I was a dick. I left it on the fucking floor. Like one of the reading materials you gave me during that wonderful time was this insane book about how Jesus and Christianity has its roots in psilocybin.
Yeah.
But like, if you, just for the sake of this rant, if you look at Jesus as psychedelics, it makes a lot of sense, because what Jesus is saying is you don't need a priest class to communicate with the divine. You can do it right now, anytime you want, any day you want. It's always here for you. That's exactly what the mushrooms tell you. And what happens to Jesus? They fucking kill him. And so it's like the relationship between centralized power and psychedelics has always been a contentious one.
Right.
Because the psychedelics just tell you, yeah, you're okay. That's one of the things they'll tell you. Maybe you need to fucking like walk your dogs more or whatever. But like ultimately you get this realization, I'm okay.
It's also the power structures that exist without psychedelics aren't possible if everyone's on psychedelics. And then you have ancient Greece. Right? So, like, how did ancient Greece emerge? It emerged because of the Kukion. It emerged because of the people doing these Eleusinian mysteries. They were learning things about themselves and the world, and they decided to, like, let's create democracy. I mean, that's really what it comes from. So that's what's scary. That's what's scary to people that are in power, and also the ignorance. We know that they haven't done it. Because if they've done it, they wouldn't be advocating against it. It doesn't make any sense. Unless they've only done it once and then they reverted. Or maybe a couple times. People do revert. One of the things that makes people revert is they get older and they get bitter.
Yeah.
And they haven't done psychedelics in a long, long time. And then they become like a shitty Republican when they get older. You know?
Well, you know, man, there's this Buddhist teacher I love, Sharon Salzberg. And one of her sayings I love is, the healing is in the return. Meaning, the way the waveform works is, especially with psychedelics, you get the glimpse of the divine, you forgive yourself, thus forgiving everyone around you, you experience true compassion, and then you come down, and then you crust up. You know what I mean? You crust the fuck up, and now you get crusty, and now you're like starting to get irritable again and angry again and fucked up, and like, and if you don't mitigate that in some way by like, what is it Bill Hicks says? squeegeeing your fucking
Your third eye,
yeah. If you don't like do a nice squeegee here and there, then you do end up crusted over. You do end up like looking back at those ideas you had and saying to yourself, that was highly unrealistic. What the fuck was I thinking? But there's always, that's the thing. It's always, this is my problem with psychedelics. My problem with psychedelics is obviously it's a chemical, but what can happen is psychedelics, you become the priest class. So you take the psychedelic and you think, I'm experiencing this because of the thing, when the reality is the thing is showing you what's in you. It's always there, right? And so the healing is in the return is the moment you realize like, oh, fuck, it's still here. It never went anywhere.